Today is President's Day, which means I have the day off, which is one of the best things about being a teacher. But I expect myself to clean my car today, and I'm gonna need y'all to support me and help me through that because it is about 9 degrees outside, and I'm just going to need a lot of support through today. I'm also going to need a lot of guidance, I feel like, so we're going to go ahead and pull one card from each of my oracle decks that I have before we start the day, before we even make coffee, because we need that pure, fresh, rising energy. So the Garden Dragons is a real cutie boy. We're not going to pull any tarot cards this morning because that feels like a lot of thinking, and we're just going to... Oracle cards sometimes are a little bit more straightforward. I don't know, man. At least for me, it seems. Okay, so... organize my deck boxes so that I don't lose any. I have 1, 2, 3. Sorry if you just heard me fart. Excuse me. I'm just human here, honestly. Not trying to be anything else. Okay. Garden Dragons, Earth Magic, Work Your Light. That's a good one. We have Messages from Your Animal Spirit Guides. Another good one. I'm going to need to knock the energy out of each of these decks before I shuffle and pull my cards. So I'll show y'all what that looks like in a second, momentarily. Okay. Last but not least of the Oracle decks, I have like 4 tarot decks, but last of the Oracle decks is the Art Oracles, which is, I think, my most recently purchased one. Either way, it's one of the most meaningful decks to me, just because I am an art teacher full-time, so like art's always meant a lot to me. Okay, BRB, I actually have to go to the bathroom. I'll be back. Alright, I have returned. So, the first thing that we're gonna do is use 3 knocks to knock the energy out of any cards that hold on to residual energy, metaphysical properties. Just knocking any. I can't remember which witch I learned this from, but I have picked up the tendency and it just feels right energetically. So the next thing I do when I'm pulling cards for myself is I choose a deck. Here, let me just show y'all what I'm working with here. So I just chose my Garden Dragons deck to start. I've knocked the energy out of all of them. Now I'm just going to shuffle and see what pops out at me, because something always does. That one didn't take much work. We pulled the Tea Dragon, which says to relax. Now we're going to pull from Earth Magic, and after I pull one card from each deck, I'm going to read the explanation of its meaning, its guidance, whatever, whatnot, what have you, from the guidebook. But first I just want to get a general sense for what is ahead of me today. Ooh! I like this one. So far we have the tea dragon telling us to relax, a mountain reminding us of our strength. Now this is the work your light deck. These are the softest cards I have. I don't know what special kind of finish is on these cards. I think it's like a satin matte. Not exactly sure, but that's 3 cards. I don't think I need that many. You just feel when it's right, honestly. And at the same time, it's up to you and your energy, so... This girl is stubborn. I guess that's the only downside to super soft cards, is that the glossier ones kind of kick cards out of the deck at me. This feels right, though. You're already doing it. Stop overthinking, keep facing your true north. And these cards are a little bit more poetic and a lot more... I don't know where I was going with that, but okay. Next up, we are pulling from the messages from our animal spirit guides. Then last but not least, we'll pull an art oracle. I love all these decks, honestly. I feel very deeply connected with each one of them. Even more so than my tarot decks, which is probably why I have a tendency to gravitate towards pulling oracle cards instead of doing a full tarot reading. I'm struggling with the concept of want lately, but I almost said I want to get back into reading tarot for myself and for other people. I think sometimes it helps my family kind of put things in perspective when they want me to pull cards for them or give them a reading and they actually listen to it, but it's hard. Advice is easier to receive than it is to take. Alright, come on, Animal Oracle. What you got to tell me? What you got to tell me? I almost feel like I need to do like a traditional... Alright, I usually don't do this, but we're actually going to physically shuffle the deck. Okay, that was one shuffle. Now, give me some guidance. My decks vary a lot in texture. Okay, here we go. Humpback whale. Music is essential to your healing and well-being, whether singing, playing an instrument, or listening. Yeah, I haven't played my drums in a minute, so I need to get back into that. Okay, last but not least, we have the Art Oracle. What artist is going to guide me through my day? Come on, nah. I think it comes less easily the more impatient I am being with how I shuffle the cards. If that makes any sense. One just kind of tried to come out at me, but I don't know for sure. It has to be like, it just has to happen. I don't know how else to say it. See, that's too many. which leads me to believe that I need to do a shuffle of these two. I don't tend to shuffle them like playing cards usually, but if I really feel like the energy is like stagnant, stuck together, I don't know, whatever, then I'll try my best to do a little poker card style shuffle. And then I always try to bridge the cards, but I can't. Do we need another shuffle or are we good, Sweet Pea? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Are we guiding me? Are we doing our job? I know it's hard to do your job sometimes, dude. I get it. Believe me. Yes! Leonardo da Vinci. I'm not a Renaissance man. I'm a Renaissance man. Dissect what makes us human. Look into research like you would a crystal ball. Okay? Let me show you what we're working with here. And then we'll come back. Okay, so we have the Tea Dragon, the Mountain, You're Already Doing It, the Humpback Whale, and Leonardo da Vinci. I'm going to go start a pot of coffee and come back to interpret this reading. Okay, bye. I lied. Before we actually read our what our cards mean, we gotta take our meds because that's really important to our mental health these days. We gotta take our fluoxetine, which I've been told is like generic Prozac. I got a pot of coffee started, by the way, but it also benefits me to drink water with my meds before I dig into coffee, so I have to take my anxiety meds out of my travel pill container today because I am almost out, and this is my last one. That's buspirone, and I take that for my panic attacks. And surprise, now that I take medicine, I don't be having panic attacks every day. Isn't that wild? Isn't it crazy how that shit works? All we have to take now is iron and zinc. If it was a Friday, I would take my vitamin D supplement because I'm deficient in that shit, but it's not, so we won't. I am going to grab emotional support crystal, and she's going to sit with us while we read what today's cards mean for us. We'll just read in order from left to right because that makes the most sense. So in the Garden Dragon's guidebook, the Tea Dragon reminds us to relax. What does that mean in more depth? Tea. Okay. Keyword relax. Appearance. The very young of this species are pale cream with darker green. So this is a pretty whimsical guidebook. It actually, okay. Green coming in as maturity is reached. The spinal column appears brittle, but is much tougher than it looks. These spines can leach color when they are in extremely hot water, even basking in a cool stream. If the dragon is there long enough, the sun-warmed water will hold a slight brown tinge. Habitat. Warm and wet surroundings appeal to this garden dragon. It requires a great deal of moisture. Being one of the aquatic loving flying wonders, they share a love for hot water spots with their cousins, the coffee dragon. Over 75% of tea dragons are found in Asia and Africa. Field notes. This is kind of where I take most of my actual day-to-day guidance from. The slower the better if you want to see this garden guy. It is very inquisitive, but movement scares it. Successful encounters depend on how long you can hold yourself still. Some researchers say that appearance of a tea dragon can be tied to how hot it is as well. I really can't remember the last time I drank a cup of tea. What's your hurry right now? If you are feeling anxious and rushed, it is time to make time for yourself. The tea dragon reminds you that you should relax with a nice cup of this lizard's namesake. In preparing the tea, breathe through the time it takes to boil the water. Then perhaps you could sit quietly for the steeping time. As you drink in the hot liquid, remind yourself that it is a gift you give to others when you relax. You can deal with the stressors of the world better by indulging in your very own tea ceremony. Right on. All right, what does the mountain have to tell us? The key word on the mountain card is strength. But let's see. The massiveness of the mountain in this image, bearing the blankets of snow as spectacular hues from the sun, reflect from its body. Okay, my cadence with reading that didn't make sense, so I'm gonna try that again. The massiveness of the mountain in this image, bearing the blankets of snow as spectacular hues from the sun, reflect from its body, evokes a sense of impenetrable and immovable strength and stature. A mountain's quiet, resolute immensity relieves us in awe and inspires us to reach for greater heights, yet it can also pose challenges. The firm base of the mountain evolves to the narrower crest in its attempt to reach the sky. More daring individuals become enamored by the peak and see it as something to conquer, although it can never be truly conquered. When the mountain feels threatened in some way or simply shrugs its shoulders, the strength exhibited can wreak havoc for all beings caught on its skin. Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. It makes no sense to deny the strength you have at the cost of allowing yourself to be reactive and subject to external influences far beyond what is healthy for you. Imagine yourself as a mountain of strength, solidly grounded in the earth, your head held high as if you were touching the sky. Do so without straining, just as the mountain itself does not strain. The current situation calls for you to be vigilant, but not to the point of fear or paranoia. Be the rock of strength that you are capable of becoming. The solidness of your resolve will be clearly communicated when you model yourself after the towering immensity of a mountain. Impenetrable and inscrutable, standing steady like a rock is what is called for at this time. Stillness, steadiness, and strength. Interesting. Okay. What about work your light? You are already doing it. Keep facing your true north. Page 30. You're already doing it. I love the illustration on this card. I love... The whole purpose I bought this deck is because of how much I love the illustrations art style. Anyway, stop overthinking, keep facing your true north, do not question things so much. You are on the right track. You are facing the right way, so stop overthinking. It's happening, and you are closer than you think. You are exactly where you need to be, and things are moving at the perfect speed. Do not rush it. Now is not the time to be impatient. Now is the time to walk steady. There is no rush. What are you building? What you are building is being built. What you have planted soon will blossom. With every new day, a new brick is being laid. You have come a long way. The foundations are steady. Now all that is needed is for you to trust and keep walking forward. If a thought that things should be moving faster enters your head, that is just your ego comparing your rising to someone else. Comparison is not your friend. Stay in your lane, water your own garden, knowing that your time to bloom will come soon. I like that. I needed to read that. Now, the humpback whale is reminding us that music is essential to our healing, not just listening, but also singing and playing instruments. Let's see what else she has to tell me on page 63. I feel like this theme is there's a really unifying theme throughout this read. I don't know how long I've been recording. Oh my gosh, 20 minutes already. This is gonna be a movie about Cassie, also known as Miss Mueller, but not to YouTube because y'all shouldn't be watching me. Okay. Music is essential to your healing and well-being, whether singing, playing an instrument, or listening. In order to diagnose their patients, one of the questions that shamans often ask is when the patient stopped singing. If it had been quite some time, the shaman was certain to recommend singing among other remedies. As an essential aspect of recovery, all that's involved when you sing, the fullness and rhythm of your breathing, the opening of your mouth and jaw, the soulful and creative expression of your spirit, serves to enhance your health and raise your vibrations. Similarly, playing an instrument can touch those inner creative depths that yearn to be expressed through song. Simply listening with your full attention to your favorite tune or melody can also inspire and heal. Make music as essential to your lifestyle as eating and breathing. You can breach the inhibitions about expressing yourself musically that you've acquired over the years in some very simple and easy ways. Sing, chant, or play an instrument. Take a few voice lessons as a means to shore up your confidence. Let the magical child inside of you help rediscover the joy of creating music. Dive in and play. Okay, I like that. Last but not least, we are going to read some wisdom from Leonardo da Vinci. A classic man. Oh, he's the first. Leonardo da Vinci epitomized the Renaissance man, or in modern parlance, the overproductive possible cokehead. With his crazy achievements in science, anatomy, architecture, engineering, invention, sculpture, drawing, painting, and more, Da Vinci is today known by very cargo pants wearing dad bod lining up to see the Mona Lisa or Last Supper. By every cargo pants wearing dad bod lining up to see the Mona Lisa or Last Supper. Da Vinci's interests included human and animal dissection and analyzing human proportion. Said to be centuries ahead of his time, he left behind notebooks of forward-looking research, including alpha studies of helicopters and tanks, and near-perfect anatomical drawings. Give or take a reproductive detail, okay? We have lots to think about. We have lots and lots and lots to think. Satin Spar, you can live on that for now. I bought that bookend style type crystal, thinking it was selenite. I learned recently from my therapist that if you think something you bought is selenite, do your research on Satin Spar and look into how similarly they refract light, and make sure you're not getting scammed, okay? I'll be back after I drink some coffee and ruminate for a minute. Aside from the reading oracle reading we just did. I have been listening to, well, I guess this is on theme with that. I've been listening to a lot of Sexy Red lately. I don't know how y'all feel about her, but bow. I don't know how I feel about her either, really, as a person, but I think I like her a lot. I don't know. I met the bitch, but her music speaks to my soul sometimes in a little bit of ways. Wish she didn't collaborate with Drake, but I can't say I blame a bitch. So I gotta take my puppies out, but one of them's growing faster than the other one, even though they're the same age, and she, the one who's growing faster, the one who's growing faster just grew out of her puppy collar, but is not yet big enough to fit into her big girl collar without pulling it off of her head. So we're gonna hope that this knot does the trick. JK, I can't find their leashes right now, so I guess I'll update you on that when I figure out the solution. Whatevs, we'll be back. Update is, un momento, por favor. No, you cannot press charges. I hope you're having a good day. It's only 8:26 a.m., which makes me really happy because the day moves really slowly sometimes, and that makes me feel so good. I'm really, up until becoming medicated for my mental health, and life's not perfect, but up until recently, I felt like my anxiety is steadily increasing with age. Part of that is because of the fact that I don't just have generalized anxiety, I also have complex post-traumatic stress disorder, so my brain kind of compounds things upon itself, whether or not. So anyway, I haven't talked about my mental health on here in a minute, but my anxiety medicine helps me feel like time is not moving too fast. Time is a social construct anyway, but I have a lot of anxiety about how quickly time flies by. And I know I'm only 27 years old, but I want to go lots of places and do lots of things before I leave this mortal earth. And I don't believe, because I'm very spiritually inclined, I don't believe that this is the only life I get to live or thing my consciousness will experience. However, I struggle with detachment, and maybe I need to reread Yang Chen because of that. I actually never finished reading The Legacy of Yang Chen. So I tried to post a video the other day. I got distracted while I was recording, and it didn't happen because I never finished I never reached a conclusion, which this probably won't reach any kind of conclusion anyway. But I was talking in that video about how much I love to unmask, even though I'm only semi-self-diagnosed on the autism spectrum. So, whether or not you're familiar with the concept of masking, you can look it up. And in the 21st century, it's really easy, thankfully, to find information on what things like that mean if you have a smartphone or a computer, which you have to have if you are watching this content. So, anyway, I love not having to mask on my YouTube and being able to talk transparently and experience myself authentically as well as express myself in a genuine way. So, thank you for allowing that. But, yeah. To circle back to the beginning of this thought before all the tangents splintered out of, I feel really good about being awake this early on a day that I don't have to work. And I would also feel good about being awake this early on a day that I did have to work. That's a lie. Well, I have a lot of anxiety when I first wake up. Especially on work days, but generally speaking. And it led me to forget how much I actually really, 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 really love the mornings. I love watching the sunrise. I love drinking coffee. I love the quiet peace of a morning in a relatively small town. I love how quiet my home is. I'm going to show you guys some art that I was working on yesterday, and then we might come to a conclusion in this video because I feel like 33 minutes is long enough. Anyway, I've been working on this off and on since last summer, or maybe even the summer before. I don't know exactly. I got this wood panel last summer, I think, but I never had an end goal with, I think I was painting a still life on it, and then the still life failed. Not necessarily failed, but now I'm collaging on this. And before we hit 33, because that's where I want to stop and I don't feel like editing, I'm working on this. And it's going to be good. I love you guys. You are also good. And you're going to be even better one of these days. Because as much as life keeps getting harder, I feel so much better at handling it every day. I hope that you do too. Spring is coming. Spring is near. Oh, another piece of art that I made recently. I'm teaching kids about found object sculptures, and I'm trying to make a hand out of cardboard and paper because I don't have a model hand to draw off of. But anyway, I love you guys.